Ever since the smashing success of Pokémon during the late 1990s, it was only a matter of time when the official Pokémon Trading Card Game would be released worldwide. And after nearly 2 whole decades of both the Pokémon video games and the trading card game coexisting, the card game has gotten a bit of a resurgence, possibly due to the many YouTube channels showing off their more valuable cards and videos, and the fact that Pokémon is always incredibly popular. But a good amount of people still do not understand how to play the card game that they're collecting for. And though Pokémon themselves have released a how to play video, it is outdated for the kinds of cards we have nowadays. Luckily, I put together a comprehensive beginner's guide on how to play the Pokémon Trading Card Game, or Pokémon TCG for short, using the most recent card sets as a way to help newer players get into the game. So let us enter the world of Pokémon, but first we need a little bit of context. Pokémon is a franchise where you collect, trade, and battle creatures called, of course, Pokémon. The original Pokémon games, Red and Blue, were released in the United States on September 28, 1998 for Nintendo's Game Boy, with the physical trading card game being released shortly after in December of that same year. Fast forward 2 decades later, and the latest game in the series, Pokémon Scarlet and Pokémon Violet, was released on November 18, 2022, with its first card game expansion released around March 31st of 2023. And with every new generation comes a new gimmick that spices up the way battles work, with this one bringing what's called terrestrialized Pokémon, a way of giving different types to existing Pokémon or giving the same type a boost of power. However, this does not mean anything if you do not know how to read a Pokémon card, the rules needed to play Pokémon, and how the average match works. So let's get into it. There are 4 types of cards the trainers need to be aware of: the Pokémon card, the trainer card, the stadium card, and the energy card. A standard Pokémon card shows off an illustration of any known Pokémon, as well as its moves and additional information that gives more context to the monster at play. From left to right, you can see the evolving stage, the name of the Pokémon, the typing of the Pokémon alongside how many hit points it has, the moves it has, type weaknesses and resistances, the retreat cost, and the regulation mark. Now's a good time to talk about Pokémon Vs and EXs. Pokémon Vs are naturally stronger Pokémon that have a lot more hit points, but are more likely to have higher energy costs. EX Pokémon are very similar to Vs, but sometimes they need to evolve first. Next are trainer cards. There are 4 types of trainer cards that you need to look out for: item trainers, supporter trainers, tool trainers, and technical machines. Regardless of what they are, you must discard them after you are done using them. Item cards can be used to enhance your deck or hurt your opponent's deck. They can be used so long as you still have your turn. Supporter trainers are a more powerful version of item trainers, but you can only use them once per turn, meaning that if you use it, you cannot use any more supporters until the end of your turn. Supporter trainers also have artwork from Pokémon characters across the series. Tool cards are also similar to items, but are placed on your Pokémon instead of discarding it. They usually have effects that occur when your Pokémon is being attacked, and you can only discard them if you discard your Pokémon. Finally, you have technical machines. Technical machine cards are very strange cards that can give your Pokémon a new attack to use. You use it like a regular tool trainer card, but it must be discarded at the end of your turn, regardless of whether you have decided to use the move or not. Up next, we have stadium cards. Stadium cards are used to give you and your opponent some extra bonuses or special conditions. You can only discard them if you or your opponent put down another stadium card. Finally, we have energy cards. Energy cards are required for any move that your Pokémon can do and can only be equipped once per turn. They have an energy card for each type that the TCG has, and some even come with certain rules that can help you out. Now that you know what makes up a card, here's the standard deck. It has 60 total cards, and it cannot be any more or any less. Though you can use any Pokémon you want in your deck, you must have a basic Pokémon in order for you to play. You can also only have up to 4 copies of the same card, and each card must have a regulation mark, which is located at the bottom left side. And finally, if any of your cards have a regulation D mark, that means it is banned for tournament play. However, please disregard that rule if you are doing it for fun. Here is where you will be battling. It's called the playmat. At the bottom of the playmat, we got something called the bench. The bench is a place where you can store your Pokémon during a match, and they cannot attack unless they have an ability. In front of the bench is called the active spot. The active spot is where you can attack with your Pokémon or put energy cards on top of them. You can even retreat if you have enough energy for it. To the left is where you put your prize cards. Prize cards are your primary condition to win. On the top right, you have your deck, and then on the bottom right, you have your discard pile. The deck area is where you're supposed to draw your cards from, but the discard pile, however, is only used after you used a trainer card or if you had your Pokémon knocked out. You play your trainer cards on the right, and you place stadium cards on your left. I said earlier that prize cards are your primary condition to win. However, that's not the only way you can win. You can also win if your opponent does not have any remaining Pokémon on the bench during their next turn, your opponent's deck area is empty, or if your opponent decided to concede. Now let's hop into a real match. But before the game starts, you and your opponent must decide the turn order. And the way that can happen is to flip a coin to see who goes first. And the winner of the coin flip can decide if they want to go first or second in the turn order. After that decision has been made, draw 7 cards. Both you and your opponent must have a basic Pokemon in order for you to play. If either of you do not have a basic Pokemon in your hand, you must show your hand and then reshuffle them back into your deck. This is what's called a mulligan, and if a mulligan happens, the other person has the opportunity to take another card. After both you and your opponent have a basic Pokemon into your active spot, set aside 6 cards from the top of your deck to the left side. These will be your prize cards. Prize cards can be collected after you knock down one of your opponent's Pokemon. Regardless, here's the turn order. At the first stage, you draw a card. You can put up to 5 basic Pokemon onto your bench, attach 1 energy to one of your Pokemon, which is only once per turn, retract your active Pokemon also once per turn, evolve any of your Pokemon, but only after you place them down, play the trainer cards, and attack with your active Pokemon. If you cannot attack, tell your opponent that your turn is over, and I end my turn. A quick thing to know about turn order is that the player who goes first cannot attack or play a supporter card on their first turn, and neither player can evolve a Pokemon on their first turn. In the beginning of the match, Trainer B flips a coin to see who goes first. They have guessed correctly, and they have decided to go first. After a few rounds of preparation, Trainer B evolves their Lechonk into an Oinkologne, and doing the move Confounding Cologne, dealing 30 damage and leaving the opponent's Drowsy confused. Trainer A evolves their Drowsy into a Hypno, however they are still confused. Trainer A tries to attack Oinkologne, but fails to do so because they failed the coin flip, dealing 10 damage towards themselves. Trainer B uses High Impact Kick, leaving Hypno knocked out and giving Trainer B a prize card. Trainer B could have gotten 60 damage towards themselves, but they got lucky with the coin flip. Trainer A swaps in Indeedee, and Trainer B swaps in Maschiff. During their next turn, Trainer B uses Darkness Fang, dealing 20 damage to Indeedee. Trainer A uses a supporter card named Shauna, allowing Trainer A to shuffle their hand back into their deck and then drawing 5 cards. Trainer B does Darkness Fang. However, Trainer A uses Heart Sign, instantly knocking out Maschiff. Trainer A takes a prize card. Trainer B puts Brute Bonnet in the active spot. Trainer A uses Heart Sign again, dealing 80 damage. Trainer B then uses their supporter card named Cook, healing 70 damage from themselves. Trainer A uses Heart Sign. Trainer B uses Rampaging Hammer, instantly knocking out Indeedee and giving them another prize card. However, due to this move's effect, Brute Bonnet cannot attack during their next turn. Trainer A swaps into Lunatone. Trainer B ends their turn early. Trainer A evolves their Mischievous into a Mismagius. Trainer A also uses Moon Kinesis, dealing 30 damage for every energy Lunatone has. This knocks out Brute Bonnet and gives Trainer A another prize card. Trainer B swaps into Oinkologne. Trainer A does Moon Kinesis. Trainer B uses their supporter card, Professor Turo's Scenario, allowing Trainer B to put Lechonk and Oinkologne back into their hand. However, they must discard their energies. Trainer B swaps into Lugia V. Trainer A uses Moon Kinesis. Trainer B uses the supporter card, Copycat, allowing Trainer B to shuffle their hand back into their deck and then drawing the same amount of cards as their opponent, which is 4. Trainer A does Moon Kinesis, and knocking out Lugia V. Since Lugia V is a V Pokemon, Trainer A gets to take 2 more prize cards instead of 1. Trainer B swaps into Bouffalon. Trainer A does Moon Kinesis. Trainer B ends their turn early. Trainer A uses Moon Kinesis, knocking out Bouffalon, and giving Trainer A another prize card. Trainer B swaps into Roaring Moon EX, and uses the move Calamity Storm, instantly knocking out Lunatone, and giving Trainer B another prize card. Trainer A swaps into Mismagius, and uses the Pokemon item Energy Recycler, allowing Trainer A to shuffle back 5 energy cards into their hand. Trainer A uses Psychic Sphere, dealing 60 damage towards Roaring Moon EX. Trainer B evolves their Lechonk into an Oinkologne again. Trainer B uses Calamity Storm, instantly knocking out Mismagius and giving Trainer B another prize card. Trainer A sends in Double V. Trainer B uses Calamity Storm again. However, since Double V's ability, Soft Wool, gives Double V the ability to take 30 less damage, it does 70 damage instead. Trainer A uses the Fresh Water set, healing 20 damage for every Pokemon. Trainer B evolves their Charmander into a Charmeleon, and uses Calamity Storm. Trainer A uses Revenge Blast, a move that does 120 damage. However, it does 30 more damage for every prize card that Trainer B has taken, dealing 200 damage instead, and knocking out Roaring Moon EX. Trainer A takes their final prize card and is declared the winner. Good game. If you are now interested in wanting to play Pokemon, you might be a little bit stumped as to where you can buy card packs. Luckily, you can find lots of them on sale in big chain stores, and online at www.pokemoncenter.com. A standard card pack is around $5, but you can find more bundles and even some starter decks for more money. You can also play the game online with Pokémon Trading Card Game Live, a free-to-download version that is faithfully adapted from the physical card game. You can even redeem code cards. There are plenty of old and new cards that are still in circulation, and we have only scratched the surface. But I hope that I showed you how fun it can be to learn the Pokémon Trading Card Game. Thank you for watching.